Morning, folks. Hey, does anybody remember Donald Trump stating that he was going to surround himself with, quote, the best and most serious people? Well, I do. And you know what? Little did we know that what he intended to do was surround himself with the biggest criminal cabal in American political history, foisted upon the American people, and attempt to overthrow American democracy. But that is exactly what has happened. And it will happen again. It is already in progress. Donald Trump has just been convicted in a 34 count felony indictment. And, you know, while the media called that the Stormy Daniels hush money trial, it was actually an attempt to influence the 2016 election. He's got a history of this. He is also still facing 54 criminal charges relative to overturning the 2020 election and preventing the peaceful transfer of power. Let's talk about some of the other players in the Donald Trump cabal. Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro, both convicted of contempt of Congress for failure to show up to the J6 committee after being subpoenaed. Navarro's already serving 4 months in prison. Bannon needs to report by July 1st. Roger Stone, Trump's equivalent to Donald Segretti in the Nixon administration, a dirty trickster who was sentenced to 40 months in prison for lying, obstruction, and witness tampering. He was pardoned by Donald Trump. Paul Manafort, Trump's 2016 campaign manager, sentenced to 43 months in prison for bank and tax fraud, pardoned by Donald Trump. Rudy Giuliani, former attorney, indicted for conspiracy and voter fraud. And he has also been ordered to pay $148 million to two Georgia poll workers whose lives he utterly destroyed by defaming them. Sidney Powell, Kenneth Chesebro, Jenna Ellis, all Trump attorneys, all pleading guilty to interfering in Georgia's 2020 election. Christina Bobb, the current GOP election integrity attorney, was indicted in Arizona for the fake elector scheme. Let that sink in. Now, under Trump, the RNC is now a wholly owned subsidiary of his criminal cabal. To this end, we now have Lara Trump in charge, and she is planning a massive voter turnout watch in the battleground states. This essentially is voter intimidation and an attempt to undermine the integrity of our voting system here. That's what they're doing. They're not planning for a victory. They're planning for a loss. And this is why I am telling Democratic Party voters we need to turn out there at 65 to 70% of voter registration capacity. End of story. We need numbers out there to get this election in a landslide to ensure our democracy is still standing after November. We need numbers too big to rig and way too big to deny. Now, when you get to our YouTube channel, you can see all of the details here about Trump's criminal cabal. And while you're there, why not subscribe? I hope you guys have a great Sunday, and I'll talk to you all later.